Ladies and gentlemen, light them if you got it. We're back in action. Another episode of the PD Skillz Show. Here with Chris Holler, as always. If we seem a little de-energized, it's because we just got done doing a control your narrative watch along, so to speak. So after you're done checking this out, feel free to hit up the YouTube. It's not going to be on the Spotify or the Apple. There is way too much music in it that I'm probably going to get hit for. And I'll take the hit on YouTube because they'll just give them the money. They can use it.
They could. They could buy some extra lighting, first of all.
Yeah, so I mean, we usually record the podcast Monday nights. If you haven't been watching a lot of Raw, figured we try something different out. Think I'm gonna start watching Raw again.
It doesn't seem so bad now.
Because I like nothing to me, nothing's been going on because of the injuries. It's like everything's on hold.
And we have SummerSlam coming up, like their second biggest
Summer of Punk on hold. MJF's return on hold. Likely yeah. Story. Fucking Rhodes return on hold.
Everything that was planned for the summer is just down the shitter.
It's like they got COVID again.
Yeah, it feels almost worse than COVID in terms of the wrestlers that are out during this time.
Yeah, they were able to protect people.
And at least those people would come back within 2 weeks. But we've lost some guys like more long term. And
here's one for the conspiracy theorists. It's the COVID vaccine. It's weakening the wrestlers.
It is. But obviously Ric Flair did not take the vaccine then because he's roaring back for one final main event.
I'm almost positive that Ric Flair is the vaccine. We just don't know it yet.
He's made of something, that's for sure.
And I see I'm worried about getting tagged and kicked off of Spotify and kicked off of platforms for, copyright music. Now I've used the word vaccine several times, vaccine.
But it's a wrestling thing. Yeah. Vaccine is like
they can't really start
or
out.
something.
If I listen to it back and it's all bleeped out, I'm like, that's it. It's the man at work.
Yeah.
They don't want people to know that Ric Flair is the cure.
Yeah. No.
Let's keep it casual. You want to let the dog in.
What you do is you vaccinate the crowd before a really bad match by giving them a really good match, and then they have like a Horace Hogan match followed up after that.
Yeah. We'll let the dog in.
Who let the dog in? Holler let the dog in.
Oh, he didn't come in.
No,
I thought for sure.
No, he thought we were watching some more Control Your Narrative, and he said, I am not staying for that.
Yeah, he probably thought we were still doing that. Yeah, the dog even looked uncomfortable. Like dogs can tell when you're not like in your right mind or when you're mad or when you're upset, and the dog did not settle down while we were watching that. So and he usually just chills while we do the show. So
yeah, he knew something was off.
Not even the dog like Control Your Narrative. So I gotta stop talking about Control Your Narrative. I'm gonna talk about my own narrative.
Yeah, you control your narrative.
Time to control my narrative because I'm super excited for this Sunday, July the 24th at the Rock Pile in Etobicoke, New Frontier Wrestling. I get my hands, and better yet, I get the fucking leather strap on that Kyle. No, we're not doing any more of their shit. We're doing me smacking the shit out of that Kyle this Sunday. I am promising a fucking performance, a violent fucking performance. So come out for New Frontier Wrestling. Go to the Facebook page, a whole bunch of dope matches. It'll probably have better wrestling than I have.
But you'll be able to see it.
Yeah.
Full lighting.
See it. Absolute full lighting because they go full lights and it's fucking beautiful. So yeah, there's that. And then I've only been doing the show bi-weekly, so I got to get it in. Next weekend, we got PWO in Hamilton on July the 30th. I'm going mano a mano with the Grinder, Mark Shaw. Said it before, I'll say it again. Know my way around the Grinder. I'm gonna take him out real quick and dance my way all the way to the Iron Cup.
I didn't even know you had the app.
I don't. I don't. But there is a thing where Mark Shaw is very jealous of the free marijuana paraphernalia that I get at shows and the free monster stuff that Kyle gets at shows. And I told him it's on the Gimmick, and you are the Grinder, Mark Shaw. Right. If you are open, no judgment. If you are open to what people have to offer for the Grinder,
right?
Unless you're talking about weed grinders, that's my thing.
You got names on the wish list,
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
Amazon wish list. Get yourself a cash slave. all the times. The memories, cash slave. So I'm really pumped about this match though. The one with Kyle. I haven't done like a gimmick match aside
Right.
from like straight death match. I haven't
Yeah.
done like a gimmick match in a long time, whether it be a ladder or any kind of gimmick. This is going to be the
Something on a
first
pole.
full out. It's the first time since I've like come back to wrestling that I've done a full program with somebody that actually like had a story as convoluted and fucked up as it is.
Yeah.
Um,
There's a great promo video. If you haven't seen that, check that out.
Yeah.
Facebook page.
Yeah, my degenerate illegitimate son put together a nice little package to and that's the only nice little package probably has, although the other one's still little. I'm just judging the nice part. Anyways, YouTube package on that Kyle's YouTube page, and it features little bits of our feud across 3 companies, and yeah, we're gonna bring that to a close with a hell of an ass whooping on Sunday.
So what type of gimmick match are you going to be competing in?
Well, for those of you who haven't already checked it out on the Spotify or on the Facebook machine or the Instagram machine or the Twitter machine or whatever machine you're using to figure out where your events are, it's a strap match. If you're watching the YouTube version, you've seen it before. You can see it again one more time. Ooh, baby, that stung like a motherfucker, and I can't wait to lay it down on Kyle. So yeah, this is going to be suspended. It's not your stereotypical strap match where we're going to be attached to each other, because I do not want to be attached to Kyle anymore.
No.
So we're going to put this up in the air, and pinfalls and submissions are not legal until the strap is retrieved. Will I smack the shit out of him 10 times and call it a day? Maybe. Will it be enough? Will I want to hit a good 35 to 40? Yeah, maybe.
You should probably hit him for each birthday that you missed of his.
How about I just go for the fences and hit him for each birthday of his I want him to miss? So there's that. But yeah, I'm pumped about it. Like I said, it's going to be a good gimmick match. Really excited about it. Lots of gimmick matches I'd like to do, but because obviously there's tons that we've seen over the years. What would you say are some of your favorite gimmick matches?
I think that during the Attitude Era was probably the prime of gimmick matches. Aside from TNA's run of gimmick matches in the 2000s, during the Attitude Era, not just in WWE or WWF, but also in ECW, WCW, you had just a whole whack load of different match types and things like that. One that stuck out for me that I always thought was interesting in concept, and that I was excited to watch when I first started watching wrestling in the mid-90s, and but I always ended up being a disappointment, and that's the scaffold match. Except for when Jim Cornette got dropped from it. Most of them have been pretty slow paced and
Jim Cornette, fucking outlaw mud show bullshit. Fuck you, Cornette, you fucking yarder.
He takes a bump off of a scaffold over 20 feet in the air, right?
Cornette's a big fucking yarder.
So Smoky Mountain Wrestling and ECW, of course, you had the famous scaffold match with Vic Grimes and New Jack, where that went a little too far.
Yeah, well, I mean, he tried to kill a motherfucker.
He did. And when you have like 12 tables stacked in a ring and you miss almost all the tables and hit the corner turnbuckle, that's a brutal fall. That's
Is this dog crying in the hallway?
I don't know.
I feel like this dog is crying in the hallway.
I think he's having control your narrative nightmares or flashbacks now. We traumatized your dog. You realize that?
Yeah.
But yeah, so you had the scaffold matching and things like that. But for me, I would have to say my favorite would be the scramble matches.
It's definitely the dog.
It is the dog.
He wants more control of your narrative.
You want to
get him in here.
You want to control your narrative? Oh,
yeah,
look, he's ready.
He's so excited.
He's ready for some control your narrative.
I think he's figured out that we're not.
More.
He figured out that we're not watching.
Oh, he's like, oh yeah, you guys are being normal again.
Yeah,
talking about normal, stupid wrestling.
We're very sorry that we made you watch Control Your Narrative. And I promise it will never be on in this house again. And you can have real people food for enduring it. So
scramble matches like for the hardcore title, or they did ones for I think the world title too. You pin the guy, you have a certain amount of time. If you're the champion, you're the interim champion, and whoever's the champion at the end of the time limit, they retain as the actual champion.
My
I always like that concept.
my favorite, I mean, obviously is for me, not obviously, I shouldn't say that, but my favorite will always be one of the basics, the ladder match. It's my favorite gimmick match of all time. It's almost always guarantees, some higher spots and some high adrenaline moments.
Should we have a Michaels counter on this show where we can count every time that you mention where
I wasn't even going to mention Michaels.
Well, come on.
There's been lots of good ladder matches.
There
one of
has
the best
been.
one being the first TLC that wasn't called the TLC or
There
whatever.
has been, but who was the man that not only first started ladder matches in WWF with Bret Hart,
okay,
but also
okay.
made it famous with Razor?
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. But it wasn't meant to be a Shawn Michaels. I just love ladder matches. And so fuck you. But outside of that, I'd say bull rope match has always been one of my favorites. I love
bull rope matches.
It just like
Steve Corino and Dusty Rhodes in ECW when they did that in 2000 or 2001.
And then I like when people do
blood.
the four corners ones, the four corners gimmicks, like bull rope or strap match, whichever.
You can work some cool things with that, like JBL and Eddie Guerrero.
And you have to do all four in succession, right?
Yeah.
So like it's got a way to build, it's got something countable.
Yeah, with that one, he had him on his shoulder and like hanging on his back.
Yeah.
And as he's going by, Eddie's hitting the turnbuckles
before
I remember JBL does. And he doesn't even know it. And he gets the last one and he wins the match. And oh yeah. Yeah, I like the different win condition matches like that are really cool. And that's a unique one for sure. Not so much with ambulance matches.
No, I'm not big on those.
Yeah. I think in WWF, you have to get the guy into, on the gurney and into the ambulance, close the doors to win.
Yeah.
WCW is just like you beat the guy and then they get put into the ambulance.
Yeah, that's
what's the point of that?
That's no good. That's just it's like, oh, whether you need it or not, you're going in the ambulance. No, the point is to make sure they leave in the ambulance. Like,
what about out of the TNA? So let's just group all the TNA gimmick matches together. What was your favorite out of the TNA gimmick matches? As we just got to see some at
I think it's a cop-out, unfortunately, and probably most people's favorite, Ultimate X.
Ultimate X, probably. I would agree with that.
The ladder match with no ladder.
Yeah. For me, I love Lethal Lockdown when you had that actual six-sided cage and you had all the weapons around and
I did like original Monster Ball.
Yep.
They did it and like I think we touched on this actually on the last show we did. Like the only thing I don't like is because of COVID, it's the concept of sitting in a dark room doing nothing to yourself for 24 hours is so much more like realistically attainable for anybody to do. Yeah. That I feel like they got to gimmick it to be like 2 weeks.
Yeah, and now you can just skip the dishes in there now too. Yeah. DoorDash. Whichever one is your sponsor.
I don't think they allow that. But yeah, that's like those are definitely my favorites out of what they had to offer was original Monsters Ball and Ultimate X. Yeah. How about you?
For me, I would have to say that I already said actually the Lethal Lockdown that was my favorite and for TNA's. But I like the concept of King of the Mountain match, but I don't think that has ever been executed well until this women's one that they just have with the Queen of the Mountain.
I have a hard time with that match because there's so many fucking rules, but they keep bringing it back. So someone high up has to fucking love this, or they're doing it because it's just one of the few classic things.
Yeah, this was a throwback thing for this show where they had the 20-year anniversary and all of these old school gimmick matches. The main one that I want back, but unfortunately cannot happen anymore because she passed away, but Judy Bagwell on a forklift match. If we can get maybe someone else's mother to do that, that would be cool.
When I was, in my infinite studies to put on the best possible strap on a pole match or on a pole gimmick match that I can this weekend, I watched a lot of on a pole matches based on recommendations of best and worst. Cause you're going to take something out of all of them. And they did classify that the Judy Bagwell, it was Judy Bagwell on a pole match, even though she was on a forklift.
Right.
Yeah. They classified it on in the polls. So.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I would count that.
Yeah.
WCW had some wacky ones. They're hardcore garbage. They're not garbage yard. Whatever you call it, landfill. They had the battle or junkyard. That's what I'm trying to say. They had the battle in the junkyard with for the hardcore title in 2000. That was terrible. So yeah. But one gimmick match to bring relevant to modern times. This week we have Chris Jericho, Eddie Kingston, barbed wire everywhere shark cage match, where the JAS Jericho Appreciation Society will be suspended above the ring in a shark cage.
It's like every gimmick match that Jericho does, he's got to do something to put it stupid over the top.
That's right. I think it'll be entertaining. It'll definitely be something to see. It's interesting to see a barbed wire match.
I think
on national television.
Sammy Guevara is going to squeeze through the bars.
He probably could. Yeah.
Hager's going to open it enough.
Hager can. Yeah, out. Exactly. I was just about to say Hager will be the jaws of life.
Yeah, we're normally never mind. We're not going there. We're not doing opening up jokes and who's opening up who.
Yeah, so I'm excited for that match to see what they do in it. And
Jericho delivered on the last death match he did. I expect him to deliver on this one. So
yeah,
it'll no likely be any different as far as violence level mixed with entertainment level.
Right. Hey, you better make sure that Lucky is in the thumbnail, because that will drive up your views on the YouTube once they see him, and maybe not even us. Maybe just crop us out, or put his head over our heads.
No, I've advertised that I had dogs on the podcast before. It was someone else's dog though.
Yeah, well,
but I mean,
someone else's dog.
No, they had a cute dog. Cute dog came to some Ring North tapings. Was good dog. Good doggo. Yeah, can't hate on that.
Yeah,
but yeah, and then. I mean, you mentioned King of the Mountain because that's the next thing I was going to bring up. That's one of mine I can't get behind. What are some gimmick matches that were just complete misses for you?
I hate the Beat the Clock challenge.
See, and I just did one of those.
I think it's one of the stupidest gimmicks to book. The concept in theory sounds cool.
But you know how
the way exactly, you always know the way it's going to play out.
See, and maybe
some of the matches always have to be cut so short.
Well, I mean, ours, while they were short in nature, I won. I set the clock time. Kyle just lost.
Right. And that never happens either.
That never happens.
Yes, exactly. That's what I mean.
And that's what happens.
The way that they book it is always so predictable. Maybe it could be executed well somewhere, but the way that's been done in WWE, it's just because they have nothing else to do on the show.
But it wasn't because they're smart. It's because Kyle's a jobber.
In that case, yeah. And yeah, you don't get to actually showcase any good matches. Usually have somebody running away from somebody for a while to kill time. And it's just a dumb concept. Maybe the first time it was cool when they did on SmackDown.
I did it. It was my idea. So fuck you. I liked it. I like what we presented. But that's okay. It's art. It's subjective.
Yeah. If you want to call it art. It's art compared to what we watched
I absolutely
earlier.
hate King of the Mountain, and you were willing to give it a pass for at least having
just because of the women's match, just because they did some good they made the best out of it, even though there still was some very confusing stupid points from the rules perspective, but it was the most entertaining match out of that gimmick. That's all.
Yeah,
it was the shiniest turd.
I didn't hate it.
Yeah, and
I've watched ones that I've hated, and maybe it's just because I've gotten over the initial hate where I'm like, accept it, it's a fucking thing.
Yeah, it was more of a throwback nostalgia thing for this show, really.
Yeah, and I dug it and a lot was because they did the Queen of the Mountain. They had Josh Alexander with his throwback gear, with all the different big bouses in the history of Impact / TNA. So totally get that. One of the ones that I thought was horribly executed, RIP Big Boss Man, was the dog kennel match, the dog kennel from hell or whatever they called it.
Yep.
Kennel from hell.
So that was the last time. An interesting tidbit about that is, or not even a tidbit, but it's sad that this was the last time that they had the blue cage set up. That was the last match where they had the blue cage, because you had the blue cage and then you had the cell around it and the dogs pissing and shitting on the ringside area.
Yeah, that match was a fucking
not about you. This isn't about you. Don't worry.
Yeah, terrible idea.
Yeah.
If they had a match like that where maybe you blow the door off the cage, whatever, because there's another cage around it, you throw barbed wire or some fuckery on the outside.
Do you have to escape two cages? That could have been a cool match where Like you have to escape the blue cage, but then you also have to get out of the cell door and to fully escape. So that gives time for the other guy to also chase him outside and do that, and maybe open the blue door, throw him back in. Like there could have been cool things that could have done that with like the layers there. And it looked cool. As I always say, the blue cage did, but it looked cool inside of the cell.
The structure looked cool. The concept of the dogs
Oh.
shitting and pissing everywhere outside was bad. I mean, anytime you're putting dogs in front of that many people that aren't usually in front of that many people, it's probably not a good idea.
Not to mention a man was hung to death.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I
Yeah.
forgot they hung him. Jesus. Yeah, so that's one I didn't necessarily like the execution of. One that I like, but I feel they softened up understandably for safety, was Elimination Chamber. I think that one's a great one. I don't like the modifications of the soft cage because it looks less deadly, but we do get more sick stuff like Theory getting fucking F5'd off the top of a pod.
What I would like to see AW steal match wise from WWE next is I want traditional Survivor Series. I want 5-on-5, or you know what? Let's even do like the 80.
The closest we got to traditional Survivor Series was when we got fucking CM Punk and Sting makeup, because I'm like, I want team makeup. I like it.
And that's the thing. The teams they could do. The
Darby Allin had like Stinger / CM Punk, whatever. Like they all had like team fucking makeup, and I'm like, you know what? That's what I want. I want like everybody in Road Warrior makeup, or everybody in Darby makeup. Like, you know what I mean? Like that comparison.
Yeah, and they could
do
the
that Ultimate Warriors,
and they have enough people. Exactly. The team names were so cool. Like even for WWE to bring it back. The actual unique teams, those are great. And the one crazy match, I think it was way too long. I can't remember which Survivor Series, but it was 20-man tag team match, because you had 5 tag teams versus 5 tag teams, so you had 10 versus 10 in that match. And all around the ring apron, you just had guys just waiting to get in there. And
when was this?
I believe it was either the second or third Survivor Series. I think you had crazy teams.
That's nuts.
You talk about something. I'll look it up.
Yeah, no, definitely. Survivor Series is one of the ones that have become less important and less cool. Yeah. Because the thing about it is it had its own storyline and its own buildup, and the Survivor Series match was the story. Exactly. It wasn't to build to something else or brand
or bragging rights.
Yeah, like after being drafted to a brand 3 weeks before. Yeah. It was cool. It was fun. It was guys you don't see working together. Like they were picking their teams and such. And yeah, I mean, there was obviously teams with miscommunication problems, but it wasn't like the general manager piecing the guys together. It was them putting their own team together and going to war.
Exactly.
Not like, I like these 5 guys that don't have titles.
We're going to play a fun game where we're going to try to name everybody on a team. We see Demolition there. There's Jimmy Snuka. Or no, Haku, sorry. Yeah. Sorry, we got
no, there's no way.
The
there's
Bulldogs.
No way.
You got
it'll take the whole match for you to know everybody
over there. You got the Killer Bees.
You'd be better off looking up the list.
You have Kevin the Midnight Rockers. Couldn't find a list quickly, so I just put this on. But yeah, just massive. And tell me you couldn't do that now in AEW with all the tag teams that they have.
Absolutely.
And have a cool, crazy match like that.
I don't mean to fucking jump the shark here, but they could do it with trios. So
right.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Another man for every team. So what is that? So instead of 10 teams, we'd be at 30 people. We'd have 30 people.
Yeah. Yeah, they could fit that.
30-person match. It's a Royal Rumble under trios rules.
Right.
Oh no. I said it out loud.
Oh, I honestly, we're talking about gimmick matches. I think that would have to be the most successful gimmick match of all time, other than the cage match in general. The Royal Rumble would have to be the most successful gimmick match of all time. Where
I've said it on the show before. I'll say it a million times. Talk about WrestleMania all you want. For me, Royal Rumble is the Super Bowl of professional wrestling because anybody can fucking watch it. 30 people in a ring. Object is chuck guys out. You can just be like, that guy is cool. I like him.
You see
that's
some
my
fun
guy.
moments.
It's like when you're a stranger and you go to the fucking horse races. You're like, I like the fucking cut of that horse's jib. $20. No problem. You could do that with the Royal Rumble. Walk in, be like, I like that guy's motherfucking tassels.
Right.
Tassels to win it.
Ezekiel.
You don't need to know their name. You don't need to know anything.
They would think it's Elias. Yeah.
Well, that's an uncultured fucking opinion.
Right.
Because it's clearly Ezekiel. But here's something I kind of wanted to shout out because I knew I wanted to do the gimmick match idea. I hate pay-per-view names after gimmick matches. Because it's like Hell in a Cell. Okay.
Elimination Chamber, Money in the Bank.
These guys are gonna have Money in the Bank's the exception. Because Money in the Bank's like the Royal Rumble to me now. Where it's an event where there's multiple people, you know what the goal is. It's an inaugural event.
Even Elimination Chamber, they change up so often.
And it's you got to qualify it for it. You got to qualify for the Rumble or declare yourself or whatever.
Right.
But there's qualifying and declaring, and people like, and there's a reason for these multiple people want to jump into this match. But like, it used to be cool when they'd be like, you know, when we got Hell in a Cell at WrestleMania for Undertaker and Triple H, that even though there were still Hell in a Cell pay-per-views, that was cool because they're like, there's only one way we can settle this inside Hell in a Cell.
Right.
Where with the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, it's like, this month, this is the way we have to settle this.
Exactly. It's just being forced.
Yeah, it's not like, I'm gonna face you inside Hell in a Cell. Yeah, we fucking knew that, dickhead. It's the name of the pay-per-view.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm tired of it. And I think even WWE is, and I think we might actually see some changes to that in the new year. And I expect a lot of changes in the next year, especially with the premium live events. And with
TLC,
the UK pay-per-views now, they might do more international
TLC
shows.
I'm even fine with because it's got a TLC match. It's usually got a chairs match.
When was the last time they've done that?
Okay, not usually, but it used to. That if they made it what it was before, where every match was a gimmick,
yes,
a TLC type of gimmick. So that
just give us Taboo Tuesday. Give us that back.
No, Cyber Sunday.
No, Taboo Tuesday.
Cyber Sunday.
Taboo Tuesday.
Tuesdays are for the boys.
That's true.
Yeah.
Nobody watches wrestling on Tuesdays. Sorry, NXT.
I do watch you on Wednesday mornings. But yeah, that's I hope they change that because I don't like matches that are for the sake of the pay-per-view aside from the event ones like Royal Rumble.
And Hell in a Cell is the worst one for that because that's supposed to be the big blow off deadly match. Yeah.
Hell in a Cell. I don't like Elimination Chamber, even though Elimination Chamber, you may say it's the same thing, like Money in the Bank, where it's like, okay, you know it's coming, and there's the entrance, but it's always on
event. And multi-man matches. The reason why those three work is because they're multi-man matches. You don't need a story to force it into a big match like a Hell in a Cell or something, and there's always a clear objective on it, either I think for a title or title on the line.
I think my beef with Elimination Chambers pay-per-view is because it's WrestleMania season. I typically hate everything between the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania.
And don't book yourself into that where it's like, oh, we'd like to do this, but we got to do an Elimination Chamber this month, so that's the way it's going to be.
Yeah, and we need our best guys on deck for it. So you'll have 1 month to build a story after you job out this Elimination Chamber to have a decent WrestleMania match.
So I can see that changing in the new year for sure. That's going to be one of the things with the TV 14. You're going to see some changes in the format.
I wonder if Fox is going to jump on board with that, or if they
that will be the interesting one because they're 8:00 network television.
Yeah,
so it's really different. If you just want to do Raw like that, I think that would be a good way to make each show different. And reason to watch one or the other.
But then maybe Fox will see how that turns out.
Or we could get the return of the War Zone, where 8 to 9 p.m. is more PG, but then from 9 to 11 we get the War Zone stuff.
No, that'd be cool. I missed. Well, I mean, then it was the Raw Zone because there was a real war and they had to cancel that because you can't use war anything in WWE anymore.
No, you can't. No more Raw's war.
But yeah, that's. I think it's a pretty good take on gimmick matches.
Yeah.
So once again, guys, this Sunday, come out and check out New Frontier, whooping the masses, and by them I mean Kyle, and that's gonna be that.
Yeah.
Also, should be this Sunday. Pick up the new T-shirt if you're gonna be at New Frontier, and spoiler alert, there might be new Bastard Son material as well. So I've heard.
Look at Adam Cole's nipples. Look how defined they are.
This motherfucker's
The
on my
shadowing.
show promoting AEW shirts. That's it.
All right.
We're
You
out.
want to strap me? No, show me what you're going to do, Kyle. Show me what you're going to do, Kyle. Come on.
Okay, but like I don't know if we can
No,
do
not
this.
that. No,
Oh,
the strap. Not the strap. Just the strap.
no, I'm not gonna hit you. Stop asking me to hit you.
Strap me, baby.
Fuck. We're getting out of here. This is getting awkward.